Greetings and salutations, this is Kung Pao Enter the Minute, Minute 2. Opening frame. We are back at the father, looking left of screen, looking slightly worried. The scene continues with the baby making a fuss, with his mother speaking. In subtitles we read, "Perhaps we should take him to the abbot in the morning." To which the father replies, "No, no one should know of this." A loud and, frankly, out-of-place gong alerts the family, as the mother hides the baby and the father directs their children to huddle with her as he blows out the candle, immediately darkening the entire shack. There is a knock on the door, and the father opens it to reveal a silhouetted figure, with close-ups on his 3 triangle symbol and his iron claws. The father's last words are, "Can I help you?" as he is murdered by the silhouetted man, before we cut to the final frame of a wide shot of the shack, with the mother screaming. I would assume it's the mother. It could be the father. It could be a Purple Drapes moment. So yeah, we're still in deep backstory with a tragic past. One could argue that we're not actually at the comedy yet. Yeah, except there's a couple of subtle jokes. And these are kind of some of my favourite subtle jokes. I mean, the gong never really occurred to me until I started analysing this scene. It's out of place, but at the same time, it feels a part of the world. I mean, you don't really question it. Maybe it's just some kind of early warning system. How did it trip? How did it activate? No idea. But it's just this. I'm going to use a bad word here, but it's such a oriental meme that this movie kind of does rely on. This is an 18-year-old film. They probably shot this close to 20 odd years ago. It's not really an excuse, but at the same time, it fits the aesthetic. And clearly the characters in the scene knew that this was a bad omen, and they responded to it. But it is, on reflection, it's probably a little bit too subtle. But the other subtle joke, and it's one of my favourite jokes, to be honest, is the candle blowing out and the entire shack just going dark. It's one of those things you don't think about, and then it's like this one tiny candle, like, illuminating the entire house. If you've been in a blackout situation in the middle of the night, you know that a candle, well, there's literally 1 lumens, and like a globe is something like, upwards of 1600 lumens. So that just tells you how powerful a light bulb is. It is for moonlight, but the entire shack has a warm orange glow of a candle, which also leads us into why I think some of the cinematography is a little bit mismatched here. It was written, directed, and starring Jimmy Wang Yu, who Odenkirk essentially replaces in this entire film. We'll get more into that in later minutes when we actually start to see The Chosen One. In making this particular part of the movie and all the other shots, Odenkirk and crew try to match Jimmy Wang Yu's original cinematography as much as closely as possible. I mentioned in the previous minutes, like the use of zooms and no dollies, things like that. They also did try and dirty up the material, and I just don't think it works here. I think this particular piece of the footage is looks a little bit too clean, and the warm orange glow, yes, it reflects the candle, but it doesn't really match the rest of the cinematography in the film itself. This could just be the problem with just using old footage, that they had to essentially try and clean up like a print. It probably wasn't even the original work print. We'll look closer and more at cinematography once we get to some of the actual footage, but there's more of a contrast in some of the original footage. In this one, the contrast is a little bit toned down. But that's just something I consider as I've been rewatching it. This might not be something you really pay attention to on your first viewing. Once again, I think this being at the beginning of the movie actually aids that. It doesn't need to be quite as exact as some of the other technical shots later on. That being said, as a fan, part of me just kind of gets a bit, this just isn't alright. But either way, this also is the first time we see Leo Lee, who is not only plays young Master Payne, although we don't know who his name is quite yet in this minute. He also is the stunt double for Master Payne throughout the rest of the movie. If there's a body shot that requires like either a reference or an interaction with the Chosen One, they got Leo Lee in. Any extra footage where they needed to shoot Master Payne, they got Leo Lee in. So there's not much else to go on, really. There's not much comedy here. There's not much to really talk about. Again, it's pretty much in minute 2. We're still in the setup. But if we listen to the audio commentary track, we get Steve Odenkirk talking about his intentions about making the movie. It does come on from the previous minute because, again, this it's hard to dissect a minute of commentary when the commentary topics may last in that kind of nebulous area between and after these segments, but we'll do our best.
In general, I wanted to make a film that felt like an actual old 1970s Hong Kong film. And I figured the only way to really do that would be to actually use old footage, or I would buckle and the crew would buckle and we'd make it too slick and make the camera moves proper. So the nice thing about the merging, even though it was a hassle, is it really did force us into not using a dolly.
This is where we get the first of our bonus audio tracks, the somewhat misleadingly titled audiobook track. I say misleading title because it only reiterates the English spoken words in a posh English accent. It doesn't actually do any descriptors, which is probably for the best. It'll become really bogged down. I don't know. They probably tried to do a full audio descripted track and it just didn't work. But let's listen to a bit of this so you can hear the poshness.
Perhaps we should take him to the abbot in the morning.
So yeah, this is a short one. I don't really have much to say. I think I don't want to start blathering too much about future things. We want to get to them as we get to them. I really do want to talk more about some of the things behind the scenes, but it's kind of hard to talk about some of the behind the scenes because most of it's in the audio commentary. There is a behind the scenes documentary on the DVD. It doesn't really tell you much. The audio commentary really is where a lot of that stuff is. And I don't really just want to reiterate what's being said in the audio commentary. I'm probably going to snip in some commentary in this anyway. See, this is the fun you get when you don't have an actual script. I have been writing out the introductions so I can be a bit more dramatic, but that's really about it. So yeah, please stick around for minute 3 where we'll definitely have more to say about what's going on. That's where things start ramping up. If you enjoy this, please like, share, subscribe, and do all the other things. You can find me on YouTube and Facebook. Just Google Fanboy Crossing or Kung Pao Minute. Hopefully by the time you hear this I'll have a Facebook page up dedicated. I do have Ko-fi or Coffee or Kofifi. All the links down in the bottom. I was kind of joking about the Pornhub thing. I probably will go on and get an X video. An X-Hamster sounds good. X-Hamster sounds more fitting for a Kung Pao. Although, strangely enough, no animals were harmed in the making of this film, although a lot of puppets and CGI creatures did receive a little bit of a pummeling, which is a bit of a shame, but we'll get to CGI people's rights at some point, and I can hear some of the Star Trek fans talking about the Doctor, well, that Doctor, not that Doctor, not the Doctor Who fans, unless there's a CGI character. I'm getting ahead of myself, so until next time, see ya.